and welcome to this week's edition of the Orlando World Sunday Showdown Round of 64. This week's episode features two defunct attractions from both Universal Studios and Disney's Hollywood Studios, with a match-up between Twister, Ride It Out and Lights, Motors, Action Extreme Stunt Show. Let's take a look back briefly at both of these fun special effects attractions. Twister Ride It Out was an indoor attraction, which was mainly a special effects showcase. It was based on the popular 1996 hit film, Twister, and was located in the New York City area of Universal Studios when it opened on the 4th of May 1998 after replacing the Ghostbusters Spectacular. Twister Ride It Out was themed to the town of Wauketa, Oklahoma, where audiences were given a behind-the-scenes look of the damage caused by the deadly Twisted which ravaged the area in the hit film. Stars of the movie, Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, featured heavily in the show's scripted elements which were presented on the TV screens throughout the exhibit, as guests made their way through the likes of Aunt Meg's house, which is badly damaged, and made to look like it had been battered with severe force. The main attraction features a lot of special effects, which are incredibly realistic, with debris flying around, signage and electricity cables breaking, cows flying overhead, creating a fun but eerily frightful experience, giving just a glimpse of what it would be like to be in the middle of a tornado. It was a very loud, but it only added to the excitement of the attraction. Lights, Motors, Action Extreme Stunt Show was a vehicular stunt and special effects attraction located at Disney's Hollywood Studios, opening on the 5th of May 2005, where it replaced most of the area which featured the studio backlot tour. The show was designed to look like a film set, where you were given a behind-the-scenes showcase into how high-octane scenes were created featuring vehicles, from car chases, to explosions, where red cars, or hero cars as they were called, were being followed around by the pursuit cars which were black. The show had some stunts from trucks, cars, motorbikes and even jet skis, and a lot of pyrotechnics and various stunts performed by stunt actors, like drivers being on fire, and falling from the rooftops. The show appealed to many, particularly those who has a keen interest in vehicles, and was a good solid stunt show which gave a good educational look at the behind-the-scenes tricks and tips of how vehicles played their part in movie stunt scenes. Now let's take a look at this week's series of 5 rounds, to determine which of today's attractions will take their place in the round of 32. Let's go straight to round 1. Twister was a traditionally classic special effects attraction. The effects used were pretty intense, so much so that in order for the experience to be scientifically accurate, and as close to being as realistic as possible, the attraction was developed with support from professional tornado meteorologists, to create a lifelike presentation. Twister featured a wide range of special effects, with projections, pyrotechnics, explosions and flying debris, all enhancing the experience, with a series of tornado funnels, and wind funnels, creating a ripping tornado, and an extremely intense attraction, which offered an element of suspense, fear and an adrenaline rush. Universal used some typical methods with their technology used in the ride, which helped to create the effects of roof rafters blowing off, signs and cables collapsing, and other unworldly sights, such as flying cows, and the infamous Dorothy 2 machine hurtling through the sky. The effects were classic special effects which had been used for years within other theme park attractions, but the effects were good enough to provide a fairly accurate experience of being caught up in a violent twister. The Lights, Motors, Action special effects were fairly standard fodder in terms of explosions and pyrotechnics. But what set the show apart from other special effects stunt shows was the behind-the-scenes elements which accompanied the main show performance, where the hosts would give the audience some hints and tips about how certain stunts were performed, giving away the trade secrets on how the stunts really were created. Such stunts, like the driverless cars, where the car wasn't really driverless, or remote-controlled, the car actually had a driver, who was mounted to an external frame on the side of the car which was hidden from audience view. The show featured many chase scenes using various vehicles, and a variety of special effects were used to enhance the high-octane show, from ballet chases and blockades, as well as high-speed escape chase scenes. The effects were interesting, and gave guests a look at how the world of movies really created some spectacular stunts behind the scenes. So in round 1, for special effects, the Twister attraction just offered a little more in terms of the overall effect. The attraction was very complex to put together in terms of the technology used, which just brings it out ahead of the Lights Motors Action Stunt Show as we head into round 2. Twister was a walk-through attraction, which operated at regular intervals. Large groups made their way through the attraction through the various sections and show scenes. Capacity for the exhibition was fairly high for its type, and was capable of accommodating up to 2,400 guests per hour through all areas of the show, with an average of over 480 people within the attraction at any one time. The Lights Motors Action Extreme Stunt Show was housed in the large amphitheatre, which was located within a 54,000 square metre site, which accommodated up to 5,000 audience members per show, making it one of the highest capacity shows in any Orlando theme park. The capacity was limited to the 5,000 guests, but the theatre was capable of being expanded, but was never used for that purpose. So in round 2, for capacity, the Hollywood Studios attraction comes out on top as the runaway winner in this round, being capable of accommodating twice the amount of guests as Twister. Let's head on now to round 3. The Twister Ride It Out attraction ran at a fairly standard show time compared to other similar types of attractions. The attraction was broken up into several areas, with exhibits and pre-show video sequences, as well as the main showcase scene, which lasted for several minutes. Overall, the attraction had a respectable duration of approximately 12 minutes. It didn't seem like a long time, and passed along fairly quickly, with the final show segments being a look and violent few minutes. The show ran for a good length of time that was probably about right for that type of attraction. Lights Motors Action Extreme Stunt Show was a fairly lengthy stunt show, which operated to a similar runtime to other themed spectaculars. The show operated for approximately 38 minutes, but given the nature of the show, it often overran by several minutes. For the 38 minutes, the attraction had a balanced show, with over-the-top stunts, and some educational and factual content, which made it a very enjoyable experience for everyone. So in round 3, for duration, Lights Motors Action takes the round, and goes into the lead heading into the penultimate round. Twister Ride It Out was as good a special effects attraction as any other of that era. Sadly, with the increasingly huge demand in park visits and capacity at bursting point, older special effects attractions became a lot less popular, especially with the ever-rapid changes with technological advances, with park guests looking for more immersive storyline experiences. Twister operated from 1998 to 2015, giving park guests a long-respected 17 years of service before it became less popular, mostly due to younger fans having no knowledge of the film it was based on, meaning it closed to make way for Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. But for 17 years it was part of the original Universal Studios line-up of traditional effects shows, which Universal Studios was originally famed for. Lights Motors Action Extreme Stunt Show wasn't the longest running stunt show attraction at a Disney park, where it only operated at Hollywood Studios for 11 years. Despite having little over a decade in operation, it opened at Walt Disney Studios Park in Paris in 2002, and is still in operation there, meaning it's still a popular attraction. It did however close in Florida to make way for Disney's most expensive land expansion since Pandora: The World of Avatar, where the world of Batuu comes to life with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So in round 4, the Twister attraction takes the point to level the score going into the 5th and final all-deciding round. Let's get straight into the final round. For thrills, both of these attractions weren't high up on the thrill scale, being more exhibition attractions rather than a full-blown participation experience. But though it doesn't stop Twister from being remembered as a fairly dramatic and highly intense experience, with the exceptional use of complex special effects, bringing audiences into the world of violent twisters, with debris flying everywhere and the loud crashing of glass and falling infrastructure. The attraction wasn't the most exciting, but the cast did a great job through the video feeds to create the illusion of something big about to happen, and the attraction delivered a fairly decent thrill, which surely lifted the adrenaline levels of many guests, and they were put into the path of a massive series of twisters and inclement weather. Twister will long be remembered for being a fun attraction which achieved a fair amount of success in providing an accurate experience of being in the middle of a tornado, and given the technology that was available at the time, it's no small feat, and it's a testament to the attraction that it lasted for so long. The Lights Motors Action Extreme Stunt Show as attractions go was fairly low on the thrill level, but for the overall experience it ranked well for being an exciting and enjoyable experience, which offered a few spectacular stunts, with the rest of the show being more of an educational or high-octane theme, with car chases and some stunts, similar to what you would expect with monster trucks or similar attractions. The show did well to keep guests entertained, and was always fairly popular, more so with car enthusiasts, or those who are keen on the stunt shows. It was an enjoyable 40 minutes of epic vehicle stunts, with a lot of behind-the-scenes content thrown into the mix for a fairly balanced show. But overall, Twister just offered a little bit more thrill, being a more intimate attraction, which brought you a little closer to the action than Lights Motors Action, which gives the former Universal Studios attraction the final point of today's contest. Which means looking at today's results we now have a winner. So unfortunately that means that the Lights Motors Action Extreme Stunt Show drops out of the competition. It was a decent attraction, which offered a lot of cool stunts and gave guests an inside look at how tricks were really done. The attraction is still in operation in Paris for those who still enjoy the attraction. Twister Ride It Out advanced to the round of 32. Join us for next week's episode for the final contest in the round of 64, where Mickey's PhilharMagic goes head-to-head with Expedition Everest. See you next time. Have you seen our photo flashback video series featuring this week's attractions? You can check the links in the description down below. We hope you enjoy this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at the Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.